It is the 97th Annual National FFA Convention here in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Tyler Cavalli with you here on the Midday Show. We're broadcasting live on KRVN. Thanks to our great partnership in Channel Z. Well, as you can imagine, there's over 70,000 people here for the week of the National FFA Convention. There are a lot of stories to tell. We've told some of those from the Nebraska respective side of things, but that's not all that's here. Every state, you have the different territories that are here as well. And one of those interesting stories that we wanted to tell, we wanted to get told from the people that unfortunately had to experience it. Hurricane Helene obviously devastated the eastern and southeast regions of the United States just not too recent. And part of that and getting impacted was the Erwin FFA Chapter in Tennessee. There are 12 students that were still able to make it out here despite the massive devastation, being out of school since the Hurricane Helene swept through the town, flooding the region and washing away roads, devastating businesses and homes in the area. To share their story is Noah Canter, the secretary of the Erwin FFA Chapter in Tennessee, and Laney Rogers, who is the treasurer as well. First off, thanks for coming over, and how are things going so far, Laney, here into the session overall?
It's been great so far. We've been able to talk to a lot of different people and have a great experience at National Convention, but just getting something kind of normal from outside of what's going on at home has been great. Yeah,
no, I imagine, as Laney mentioned, the normalcy, that's probably been the most important thing because of obviously what you guys have had to go. So this is probably at least something to get off your mind of what's going on back home.
Yes, and thank you for having us here and bringing light to what's going on in our community. But being here is a chance to just take a break from, the pressures and the tragedies that are going on back home. And so it's great to be able to see 70,000 FFA members enjoying themselves. And we're enjoying ourselves, too, as a chapter. I think I can speak for everyone in saying that. And Laney can expand upon that. But we're having a great time. It's a great way to relax and just spend some time together after what we've been through these past few weeks.
Laney, talk about the hurricane and when it moved through, what that experience was like, and obviously now the devastation that went through the region.
It was definitely very scary. I myself feel very fortunate because I wasn't extremely affected, but just the sense of not knowing if your family and loved ones, how they're doing, not being able to contact some people, but just, yeah, it's really scary, and how everything doesn't look the same as it once does, and knowing that it'll never be the same again has been crazy.
Yeah, on social media, it's always interesting. Now you get to see the before and after pictures, of that entire region, and it is incredible to see the devastation and of what towns look like before, what roads look like before, regions, and then pretty much completely wiped away. What was the time or what was that like in terms of, was it just a lot of flooding? Was it heavy rain for you guys? Noah, share us what that perspective was like.
Well, we actually had both. We had a lot of rain, which led to a lot of flooding. We have the Nolichucky River that runs through our town, and the Nolichucky River is it is a lifeline for our community. We get a lot of tourism based off of that as well, and previous records was in the 20 feet somewhere, and news reports say that it got up to 30 feet. They can't even measure how far it got up because they lost the measuring device in the rain. So it got up to 30 feet, they know. They think it could have went farther. So that swept through our community. Actually, you were talking about pictures. I think the picture that was most haunting to me was watching the people at our hospital had to be airlifted, and now to drive by that hospital and see it destroyed, and that whole road is super tragic, and it just doesn't do it justice when you get to finally see it with your own two eyes.
And we're talking to Noah Canter and Laney Rogers. They are with the Erwin FFA Chapter out of Tennessee, as we're recounting, obviously, the devastation that occurred from Hurricane Helene not just too long ago. What is life like now? We'll start with you, Laney, in that region. How are you guys doing? What is happening there?
It's a lot different. We've been out of school for almost a whole month, but just the community has really come together to help volunteer. And going into the high school, we had classrooms were filled with supplies. So just seeing the community come together, and we ourselves have been able to volunteer at different farms that have lost almost everything. So definitely a lot different, but not always in a bad way, seeing the community come together like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, these kind of events, that's when everybody does come together, right, with these things. And obviously, you guys now know firsthand. Noah, it is interesting with the agricultural side of things, what was impacted?
Farms especially, and farms is the backbone of our community. We are a rural community, and agriculture is what keeps us going. Laney mentioned the farms that we went and cleaned up, and one farm particularly, we were cleaning it up, and there was a hymn that had washed over from the church just down the road, and that hymn was called "Step Into the Water," which kind of gave us, a moment to be reminded that, during times like this, we may have a struggle, but the Lord's always got our back, and He will always be there for us. And so that was a great thing. And to explain our community, it's unified. Also, that one farmer that she was talking about, he lost his farm animals, and by loss, they weren't just laying there,
just
passed
gone.
away. They were just washed away. He doesn't even know where they're at. So that's probably one of the more daunting things is to not know where those animals are at, and it's going to take him years to rebuild. So that together, seeing our community come together is great, but it's also still a heavy heart that we still see our community like that.
How are people doing now at this point? And are there ways people remotely that are listening to us back in the Midwest, how can they help if they would like?
Well, we were just talking to another reporter just a second ago, and she asked that same question, and I'll direct you to the same answer. Rise Erwin is an organization outside of Erwin, and they started a GoFundMe page that you can make monetary donations to, and I think that would be great help there. If you can't make it to Erwin, but if you're around the Erwin area and you would like to help, you can go into Erwin. There's plenty of people that could use your help cleaning up and helping get rebuilt back on their feet. And I'll let Laney talk about how it kind of feels right now in the community.
I went to the Armory, and hearing people's stories from all different states, I would have never thought they'd be able to make the journey down here. But seeing people move to kindness to help our community has been really amazing.